If your occupation is a drug dealer, surely you know by now there's a time limit on how long you can go undetected. Your operation is only permitted to operate for a year or two max. After that, tell yourself the police are gathering intel and then get out of there. Get out of the drug business. For the record, I am against any illegal activity, though I do believe some crimes are way worse than others. So, drug dealers out there, if you're going to take that calculated risk, get in, make the money, and then invest in a legal business where you can support yourself and your friends and your family or your kids or whoever. To give you some perspective on the risk of joining the narcotics program, between 2019 and 2020, there was 175,000 drug offences recorded by the police in England and Wales. Again, these numbers exclude Scotland and Northern Ireland, two very big drug-demanding areas. For the last time, don't get in a drug business. Your life can end up like Michael Emeofa. County line gang leader is only 22 years old, but police have claimed he is responsible for flooding Barrow-in-Furness with large volumes of heroin and cocaine. In a 10-month period spanning March 2018 to January 2019, police tapped phones, gathered surveillance on non-drug territories, wrote down statements from fiends who were high-strung on gear, and built their case, all the while Michael Emeofa was blasé to the entire situation going on around him. In all seriousness, the county line was elaborate and multi-layered. The Daily Mail dubs the county line Britain's biggest county line operation. The purity of the drugs was also a cause for concern, as police recorded 14 drug-related deaths in a 6-week period while the county line operated. Michael Emeofa's entry into the drug business was as a runner for two university students who used him to transport drugs while establishing a friendship, as all three men attended the same university. Daniel Ololoko and Peter Adebayo's drug network supplied University of Central Lancashire students with any drugs they needed in the university halls of residence. Essentially, Michael learned the drug trade from Peter and Daniel while at UCLan in Preston. After he learned how to bulk cocaine, cook heroin and weigh out the product, Michael set up his own county line called Able. His own constructed county line was in direct competition to his quote-unquote friends. And when police arrested Daniel and Peter in April of 2018 for drug offences, in which they were sentenced to 7 years each, Michael took over the operation. I mean, literally, he filled the gap. Police said Michael recruited everyone from drug addicts to vulnerable teenagers as young as 15 years old and moved them from London and shipped them to Barrow-in-Furness to work on his behalf. That's a 300-mile trip. One of his runners, a 15-year-old boy who had actually been reported missing from local authority accommodation in London, was said to be a vulnerable and impressionable person who had no family ties. Preston Crown Court was told Michael had distribution bases in London and Coventry, which he used to stock up on drugs and prepare and package the illegal product. Michael's drug empire came crumbling down when police launched an investigation called Operation Horizon. As part of the investigation, undercover police were tasked with posing as buyers and obtaining credible proof that linked Michael to the county line Able, in which they successfully did by infiltrating a criminal organisation. When presented with such strong evidence, Michael Emeofa of Benjamin Court, Bromley Road, London, pleaded guilty at an early hearing to conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. In a character reference for the defence, Michael's mum explained Michael had went to an expensive private boarding school in Nigeria and was a person of previous good character who had always excelled academically and had gone to university in order to study law and business. Judge Graham Knowles QC told Michael Emeofa, "You say in your own letter that you made stupid decisions. They were motivated, I think, in a large part by wanting money. It is easy money if you run county line operations because it's others who pay the price. The man running the line only pays the price if he is caught, and that's why the sentence is so severe." He went on to say, sending two vulnerable schoolboys to Barrow-in-Furness to deal drugs was wicked. For his crime, Michael Emeofa was sentenced to 9 years in jail. For such a smart guy, he chose some pretty stupid decisions that could have a serious impact on the rest of his life. The most infuriating thing about the entire situation is that Michael didn't need to sell drugs. He had a decent upbringing, he was afforded a very good education, and he was smart enough to go to university and study for a degree that could have enabled him to reach 6 figures annually. Instead, he will have to sit in a cell for 9 years, pondering at the height of his criminal organisation he was operating as many as 15 county lines. running drugs into Barrow-in-Furness, with hundreds of drug deals taking place each week. And now, a total of 29 people have been sentenced for drug-related offences, with an accumulative sentence of more than 100 years in jail. That's 29 lives he has helped ruin in some capacity. Safe.